everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So today I thought it would be fun to do a little lifestyle / reading vlog because I have 2 books which I really want to get done, and I have a bunch of like room projects that I also want to get done, and I thought I would just bring you along. So I'm going to keep it to just today because every time I've tried to film anything longer than a day, I get overwhelmed in editing and then I go, I don't want to do this anymore. So we're going to ease into it and just do a vlog for today. So first we will get into the books that I'm currently reading. So I'm currently reading an ARC which I was kindly given through NetGalley, and we are reading Raven Minder by Lindsay Cummings. I sent this to my Kindle so then it was easier to read than reading on my phone or my iPad just because I prefer it. And we're about 15% in. It is a fantasy / romantasy book which takes place in a world where birds are kind of, different types of birds are like these sacred creatures that help during this country's war, and our main character is a raven minder. So basically she has this special connection to ravens. You also have eagle minders who are predominantly like war soldiers, and they can have connections with eagles and help in that, whereas the raven minders are more so used for communicating and keeping everybody updated on the war happenings in this world. I'm not going to go too far into what has happened yet because I'm only about 15% in and I want to get a better understanding of the world, which I don't think I have at the moment. Yeah, it's interesting so far. I'm thinking it's going to be like it is a romantasy as far as I'm aware. And I think the romance is between 2 brothers. As in, wait, that sounded wrong. As in the main girl will be torn between 2 brothers. Right? Okay. That was dramatic. I don't know why that happened, but anyway, I'll fix that later. The book is okay. So yeah, so we're in the middle of a new fantasy arc, which I believe comes out in October, and I just really want to get done. Like, I've had it on my NetGalley for a little bit now, and so yeah, that's today's goal. I also have, I think, about an hour left of the City of Ashes audiobook, which I also need to finish. So that is book 2 in the Shadowhunters universe. I think if I had read these as a kid, I would have loved them, and I honestly wish I did read them as a kid, but reading them now, it's still an enjoyable series. It's nothing like crazy, it's nothing life-changing, but I do think that it's an interesting magic system and world, and the characters. I mean, we're in book 2, like I have an hour left and they are still siblings, which is the thing that I'm like, I'm reading it until I get to the point where we find out that they're not, because I know that happens. I just didn't realize that it happened. Like, all of book 2 spans them with the impression that they're siblings, and I'm just like, guys, no, I don't like it, because the author is giving us like bits of romantic tension and I'm like, oh, no thank you, not for me. But I do want to get to, like, I don't remember the series, but I'll put the covers on screen. I think it's like the Clockwork series, which I've heard such good things about, but I just want to read and establish the world properly, and I want to do it through the correct reading order. So we're going to listen to that while we do some projects from my room. So as you can see, the walls are looking a bit bare and we need to change that. So I want to not only put up, I collected like a couple music posters. Where I lived at uni, there used to be like Sunday market, and one time when we went, it was all music stands, so they had like vinyls and CDs and all that stuff. Then they also had posters. Do I know where these posters came from? No, because it was literally just like a market stand with a bunch of posters. And I have picked up a few. I have 3 to put up, which have traveled. These posters have traveled with me between the Netherlands, England, and now Germany. So the fact that they're all still in one piece is kind of crazy. But we have this really pretty Taylor Swift one, this Noah Kahan one, and this Harry one. And these, like I said, I wish I could tell you like where you can get them, but I could only give you the market, and that market was also like, it wasn't always a music one, and I never found it again. So yeah, and then we have this ginormous one from Adele's Munich residency that my mum and I went to was it not last summer, but the summer before? Oh no, last summer. And I picked that up just to add to my little collection, and I loved the poster. It was honestly the best time, and the fact that I could do that with my mum was just insane. So I'm gonna put those up, and then I also want to paint a few posters because I bought some watercolor paper, some A3 watercolor paper to make a few to like put above my bed. I also have a couple other posters that I've painted that I need to put up as well. I just need to figure out a place to put them. That's today's to-do list. We also have a mini book haul, which I will give later. We are going to first, what are we going to do first? What time is it actually? That might help determine what we're going to do, because I also need to eat some food. It's 11:30. I think we're going to read until lunch, have lunch, and then put up these posters so then I can kind of figure out what I want to do with the posters that I'm going to be making. Let's read a little bit of Raven Minder, and then I'll probably update you about this book once I've read a little bit more. Okay, I've read a couple more chapters before I make lunch. I have some notes. Also, because I'm going to do a proper review for NetGalley, I want it to be a good one. So I am honestly, we're like just under 20% into the book. I am quite like in awe of the book, and I think that's because I haven't read a book with this type of a world like ever. Like I've read many books where birds are involved, but never to the point where we have people riding them and using them in war as like horses, you know? Like I'm reading it and I just want to keep reading it because I'm just so intrigued by the world that the author has created. And I do love that in a book, especially in a fantasy book, when it can be so easy to just do a very basic thing, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it is nice to have something new and refreshing. I'm not gonna lie, I'm having a little bit of trouble with the names, and there is like an entire pronunciation guide at the beginning. So like I was trying to explain earlier, we are following our main FMC, Azer, I believe is how that's pronounced, who is a raven minder, which means that she has a connection to ravens, and ravens in this world are used as a form of sending messages across the country, so via like letters attached to their claws. Yes, claws. And so that's obviously very vital for a country that is currently in war, because that is happening in the northern part of the world currently. And we begin the story learning a little bit about Azer, how she ended up working for a prison in the south. And because she works in a prison, she is basically a prisoner herself because of something that her uncle, and I say that in quotation marks because I don't think they're actually blood related. I think he just like took her in because she is a war orphan, so she doesn't know her parents. Someone comes to collect her to basically transport her to the north, where she will be finishing her service, doing her job as a raven minder up in the north in the city. I don't remember the name of the place, which is like the war front. And the person who comes to collect her is one of the princes of this kingdom, and they do not get along straight away, obviously, because why would they get along? His name is Aron, I believe, like Ron, but it's spelled almost like Aaron, but it's not, it's Aron. I don't know. See, this is like, that's such an unnatural name to me. But anyways, we also meet his twin brother, who is also a prince and a knight and a soldier and all this stuff, called Kinlear. Because it is a romantasy, I believe there's going to be like hints of love, tension, all this stuff brewing. I don't know about Kinlear, but Aron, he is a rider, so he rides war eagles. And the way that, especially in this city where the giant aviary for these giant war eagles is described so well, but also just the fact that, you know, like that's such a normal thing because we don't have giant eagles flying around the place. So the way in which the author describes the aviary, the way that they behave, and the fact that they are saddled and wear bridles and saddles. And there was a scene where our main girl is somewhere where she's not supposed to be just yet and is watching a rider interact with an eagle, and it's just like the imagery in my head is so vivid because of the way that it's described, and I love when that happens. Like that's why I love reading fantasy books, right? Because you get to use your imagination and it's just so fun. I don't understand the full world of the magic system yet because it hasn't been fully explored, but I believe that you can either be born with or without magic. Our main girl has a little bit of magic, or can like tap into a little bit of magic, because obviously she can almost communicate with ravens, but also the wind can like speak to her, like she can speak with wind, more in the sense of like she hears a voice in the wind that's telling her to do something or to get away from something or to go somewhere. And I have a feeling it's gonna get her in trouble because the chapter that I just finished definitely got her into trouble because of the wind. So that's also an interesting aspect of the book. I don't quite remember what the consequences are for having magic, in the sense of, does anybody who is discovered with magic get enlisted to be a soldier like straight away? Do you have to like, is that a choice? I'm not quite certain on that, but she definitely was told as a kid by her uncle not to let anybody know about her magic. So that's gonna play a role. They also they have scribes who basically inscribe runes into like clothing and skin, I believe, as like protection spells, I'm assuming, which is really cool. Like the way that it was written, that there were runes all over the saddles, and like some of them hadn't been cleaned, so it was like engraved into the saddle. And yeah, just really interesting ways of tying together different bits of magic with these birds. That's kind of like the gist of where we're at now. I don't remember if this is a standalone. I don't think it is. I think it might be a duology, I believe. I'm not sure, but like I said, the imagery whilst reading this book has been so refreshing and so fun, so I am really enjoying it so far. And do I think it's gonna follow a couple typical tropes? Yes, but we all love our usual book tropes, you know? I'm not gonna say too much yet because again, I'm only 20% in, but I have a feeling this is going to be at least a 4-star considering the setup, because I just love the images that I have in my head. The characters are quite typical for a fantasy, so I'm hoping to get a little bit more like oomph from them and just see, I guess, what the author decides to do with character relationships. But we have 80% of a book to build on that, so I'm gonna go make lunch and we're going to maybe read while I eat, but then I think we're gonna come back and like do my posters so then we can finally finish City of Ashes, because that has been like, I think I have 3 days left on my library book, not deadline, whatever the word is, so we need to finish that. I just took Stinky out and I'm going to make another coffee because we have a lot to do and I like to have a beverage, you know? So I'm gonna make that, then head upstairs and do some stuff with the posters. In classic me fashion, I've put together a little floor plan of my room and where my furniture is and all that stuff, and I've like scrolled through Pinterest, found things that I like and bits that I want to collect and put in certain areas, and also where I want my posters to go. So the first one in this beautiful illustration that I'm gonna put up is my Adele poster on my door, and then I'm thinking that my Harry poster is gonna go above my, Harry poster is gonna go like here above my Rip Curl poster board thing. So, and then I have a few to go above my bed and a few to go above my vanity. I don't know where to put my Taylor Swift one though. That's the only undefined one. So for now we're going to put up those. And yes, I'm in my PJs. I'm at home all day. Why would I change? Did I put on a full face of makeup? Yes. Would I change? No. Let's put these posters up. I have been waiting months to do this, but I just wanted my shelves up first because I need to figure out where to put those. So let's do it. And not only are boiled eggs on toast my current lunch hyperfixation, my current coffee hyperfixation is a, however you take your coffee, espresso or whatever, brown sugar and golden syrup latte. It's so yummy. Maybe even with a dash of cinnamon sometimes. Depends. Oh, I think my cat's under my bed. That scared me. I prefer golden syrup over maple syrup any day, and we're running out, so that's not good, but because we can't get that here. I think you can order it, but it's not the same as like the squeezy tubes that you can just get in Tesco's. So also, please excuse the state of my hair. It's a frizzy mess and I don't feel like making it look good, so we're gonna leave it like this, like a lion's mane. So yeah, anyways, let's put the Adele poster up. Well, that was a fail. I think I need to press the edges down with books, like make them less creasy, because every time I do one corner, the other corner falls down. So we're gonna try to fix that first, and we'll put the other ones up before we do that one, because that was a little bit of a fail. It is quite a big, heavy poster, so fingers crossed this is actually gonna work. I'm scared it's not, just because of how big it is. But I mean, it's official merch from her, so I'm assuming that they thought about the logistics. Anywho, let's put up the Noah Kahan one and the Harry Styles one. Yay! I am going to put more stuff here, just haven't gotten around to doing that yet, so this isn't going to stay empty. I've got some like paintings that I've done and stuff that are going to go there. Now that we have 3 out of the 4 posters up, I want to make some for like above my bed and next to my Harry Styles poster. That corner is going to kind of be like the book corner, so there's going to be more like bookish themed posters up and like artwork if I purchase some. And the ones that I want to make, I've seen on Pinterest and on like Room Inspo on TikTok and stuff. I've seen this one floating around and I just think cute, it's easy to do. So I'm gonna do that one, and then don't know if I'm gonna go for red for that one or something like this for next to my Harry Styles poster with all of my books. And then I've also like saved a bunch of musical ones and don't know if I'm gonna get around to doing them all today. Eventually I'd love to replicate this one because I just think it's so fun, but that takes a lot more concentration than just doing like work, like letters. So I think I'm gonna start with the Love Actually Is All Around one and listen to my audiobook while I get that done. So I think I'm gonna do it with gouache because I find that I can use a lot less paint when I use my gouache, but I did get a giant block of A3 paper. This is quite small for a poster. Like if I compare it to this, it's, you know, not the biggest poster, so I think I'm going to do like 2 of these. I don't even know what size that would be, A1 I guess, to put above my bed because there's enough space for that. So we're gonna do that one and then maybe the surfing one because I like those two. Like if I can get cute colors together, I like the look of those two together. I literally was just about to start painting and I finished the audiobook. First of all, longest epilogue of my life. It's like half an hour long. Second, why are they still siblings? it's the end of book 2. But anyways, well-paced book, decent ending, and a decent plot. All I really have to say. I did check my library and I do have access to book 3, so I did borrow that and we're gonna start listening to it now. I don't know if you can see, but I have my outlines and I'm mixing my paint right now because I have this pink going, this one, but I want to do like a warmer coloured pink, like a warm toned pink, not a cool toned pink. So going to start that and then paint. So I'm gonna grab my yellow, mix that in. These are the paints if you're curious, and get painting. I'm so scared that I'm gonna mix, like I'm really annoyed because there isn't a pink in here and I'm just so scared that I'm gonna not mix enough paint, but we will see. And I also don't want to waste paint if I paint too much. But the good thing about gouache is that you can just reuse it, so then I might just have to make another poster with that paint. Guys, my worst fear has come true. I ran out of pink. I still have half of this to do and things to clean up, and I have that much left. I don't know what to do because I don't want to mix more because it's going to be wrong. But I might just have to. Why? Good morning. I lied. I said I wasn't going to be filming for longer than a day, but then yesterday flew by and I didn't get nearly enough done that I wanted to get done yesterday. So we're going to continue a little bit more into today. I got one poster done, which took so much longer than I was expecting. It took me like a good 2.5 hours to draw, to like literally just colour in some letters. But to be fair, I did keep running out of my pink paint and having to mix it again and then freaking out that I wasn't getting the same colour back. But that's okay. I don't think it looks too noticeable, and if it's just going to be on my wall, it's going to be fine. But I want to do at least one more poster so then I have my bed, like the posters for this area of my room done. Still need to give you my mini book haul. I think that's it. I have had a bit of a slower start to the day today. Not gonna lie, it's a bit late. But that's okay. It's freezing. Like seriously, it is so cold. It was like 30 degrees on the weekend and it's like, I don't know, 5 now. Okay, that's a bit of an exaggeration, but it's cold. Like really, really cold. So yeah, my Adele poster has also been squished this entire time. Flattened. I don't know how to call that. I'm going to hopefully put that up today and see if it actually holds. I think we're going to do one more poster. I'm going to attempt that surfing like landscape one with like 2 colors, but I'm going to pick a color that is just straight out of the thing and I'm not going to mix it because that freaked me out too much. But that one's going to take a while, I think, but that's okay because we have City of Glass to read, and at the moment we're like figuring out how to get her mum back because for the last 2 books her mum has been in like a magical coma of sorts, and Clary is only now deciding that it's the right time to bring her back. I have finished the sketch. That has taken me like a good well over 2 hours, but I'm happy with it. And the good thing is is that it doesn't need to look perfect. I'm just scared for the painting part. It's just going to need a lot of concentration. But again, it doesn't have to be perfect, but I'm going to have some food because it's like lunchtime. This took a lot of concentration, so going to eat some food and then get painting. I made some, well, I didn't make it, my mum made it yesterday, so I heated up some minestrone soup and some couscous, and I'm gonna have that, and then I'm probably just gonna read on my Kindle app on my phone because I left my Kindle upstairs. Okay, super quick reading update. Around like the 30% mark is where our character gets like thrown into a different trajectory for her time in, I guess it's the capital. It's where like the kingdom castle and stuff is. And now I'm like, okay, I see where this is going. I do not anymore see the relation to the title. Gonna have to keep reading to find out. And my only like annoyance is now that we're in this like training thing and she like lives with a bunch of the soldiers in like the dorms and stuff, she's made an enemy, and her enemy is another girl who I believe is around her same age, so like 20-ish, who wants to be like the best eagle minder, so train as many as she can, be the best, all that stuff. And they got off on the wrong foot and now they're enemies, and I'm like, did we have to do that? Did we have to do that? But I'm going to hope that at some point later in the book they're gonna have to like work together and figure out their differences. But I'm just like, was that necessary? Probably not, but we will see. I said I was gonna do a book haul, so I'm gonna give you the book haul. It's really small, but my mum was in Dublin recently, and you know what they have in Dublin? They have the works. You know what's at the works? Good deals on books. So I asked her to pick up these two for me. I'm so happy, and I can now finally take the stickers off. But she picked these two up for me, and now I have the completed set. So that's really exciting. And yeah, have I only read the first one so far? Yes. Am I scared to read the second one because it doesn't really look it, but it is ever so slightly bigger than this one. And this one, even though I rated it 5 stars, my only thing was that it was a bit long. I'm scared for this one, but I'm so looking forward to reading Wildcard. I think because I'm so excited to read this one, I'm like, I have to get through 2 more books to get to this one, which I know you technically don't have to because they're interconnected, and like if I wanted to spoil them for myself and just read Wildcard, I could, but that's just not me. If there's a book in the series later on that I want to read, I will read it up until there, or at least give the book enough of a go and then potentially DNF. That's that. I really wanted her to find the people watching edition in the works because it has really cute sprayed edges, and I have been dying to get my hands on that book. When my mum went, they didn't even have them delivered in stock yet, so that was a shame, but I'm still happy with my completed set now. I don't know which colour I want to do because like I said, I want to do just like one of the colours that comes straight out of the box. I'm thinking a dark blue, but I don't know which one because they'd all give off a different vibe, you know? So I think I'm gonna go with this one. I'm so scared of messing this up, but that's okay because it's just paper and I can just make it again if I mess it up. Okay, I've put the first section down and I've put like water first, then the gouache on top to make it a bit more like watercolory because the texture in the original one is quite textured, and it's not the colour I was expecting it to be, but that's okay. I'm just gonna continue. It's still a nice blue. Yeah, I'm so scared, but I'm going to not let it be scary because painting is supposed to be enjoyable and relaxing, so that's what I'm gonna keep telling myself. Willow's purring has quieted down. So I have a few things to say. First of all, there is like some form of something going on between the two brothers. Like there's like a rift between them. They don't get along. And I think it has something to do, I'm going to make a guess and say it's what they're making, I forget the main character's name, her do now, which is why they're both like really tense about it. It is interesting. I'm liking all the little bits that are making the story, you know, like all of the little, I think in an earlier clip I was like, I can't wait to see all the different character dynamics, and they are coming through now and I'm really enjoying it. And the imagery in this book is just quite unique and really well done. Like I'm actually able to picture it. Yeah, our main character, she is just really just trying to write her own story. Like she's been locked up in this tower, and now that she's free, she's like, I just want to live to be able to live my life. And so yeah, she's also getting a lot more like sassy with the people that she talks to, and it's really funny and I'm really enjoying it. But I think I'm gonna take Molly out for a walk. It is raining, but I'm just gonna put on like a big coat and some gumboots and take him for a walk. And yeah, even though she has literally just settled, but she'll be here when I get back. I keep forgetting that I'm in the middle of watching My Life with the Walter Boys. Like I started it like probably 2 weeks ago now, and I still have episodes to finish. So I'm gonna take him for a walk, come back and watch some of that on the TV. I found a big raincoat, and the only issue is I don't know where any of the gumboots are. The only ones that we have up here are my dad's, and they're a bit big. Like quite big, so I need to go find gumboots that actually fit me. Gumboots not required, but I've got my old yellow boots, so I'm just gonna use those. I feel very unprepared for this, but that's okay. Would you please? Personal space. Hi everyone. Has it been a few days since that last clip? Maybe. However, I didn't want to finish this vlog without giving my final thoughts on Ravenminder, because I felt like it was kind of leading up to that, and then a few days had passed and I finally finished it. I literally just finished writing my review for NetGalley. I have some thoughts that I would like to share. So let's get into them. Firstly, I think my final rating is going to be 4.5 stars. I loved the experience reading this book. I definitely tried to like take my time with it and enjoy it, because it was one of those books that very much reminded me of reading Red Queen and Air Awakens when I was younger. I do think this book could potentially be like a higher level YA book, as I feel like the only thing that maybe is the reason why it's not targeted at YA is because there's quite a few concepts in the book that perhaps younger readers wouldn't quite understand. But I felt like the writing itself and the plot maybe lent a little bit more YA. However, I still thoroughly enjoyed it because it reminded me of reading books like Red Queen and Air Awakens, which I love. So I did enjoy it a lot. I loved how vivid and descriptive and atmospheric this book was. It was so refreshing to have that in a book, because I just haven't had that in a while. And I think that definitely comes down to the way in which the author, I say that a lot, definitely the way that the author, her writing is. And I really appreciated that reading it, because I could just picture these unique creatures that she'd created, the world, the saddles that these creatures needed, the stables that these creatures, you know, things like that just really tying a book together, and I appreciated that a lot. Also, all of the different little plots that ended up tying in together at the end, like little magic bits like the wind and Kinlear, one of the princes, and just little things that you pick up on while you're reading and you're like, I wonder what's going to happen with this, and then by the end you're like, oh, that's what happened with that. So I did enjoy that part as well. I also am looking at my NetGalley review, which is why I'm looking down here. I'm not gonna lie, the love triangle sort of thing that was happening wasn't the part that kept me hooked. I'm not gonna lie, it felt not like the most important part of the story. Obviously it did have a lot of impact on the plot, but the characters themselves individually were great. I wish we saw a little bit more of Aaron. Again, don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right. I wish we saw a little bit more of him and him as a character, because I felt like we got a lot more focus on Kinlear than him, and I wish we just got that little bit more. I'm assuming that maybe in book 2 we'll have a little bit more of that. But yeah, the first half of the book was a lot slower paced in hindsight. Like whilst I was reading it, I was like, okay, this is the pacing of the book. But then we got to like the second half of the book and that just completely switched. Also because the plot just like flipped. Obviously in a positive way because we got to the ending, but there was just quite a switch down the halfway mark, which was quite jarring. Not in a bad way though, it was just quite like, whoa, okay, this is the direction we're going now. There were a few predictable bits, mainly character-wise, not really plot-wise, mainly character-wise, but they felt predictable in quite a natural way and not like in a frustrating way, kind of like a, yep, I got there too kind of way. But I think all of the main plot points did make for a very good book. The only like slightly more negative things that make it not a 5-star read for me were the fact that, and I touched on this earlier, one of the main enemies of sorts that she made at the beginning was with another female who was headstrong and driven and just trying to do her work with the life that she had and just trying to survive, and she just happened to be a little bit more blunt and not appreciative of the fact that our female main character just came and messed something up for her. And then they both decided that they would hate each other. It didn't last very long, luckily, because Azer, the main character, understood why this woman was acting that way and was like, okay, I don't need to hate you, I'm trying to understand you, and that was appreciative. But I still remember reading that beginning part and I was like, do we have to do this? So that's like the only negative thing. I do think we'll explore both of those characters' relationships a little bit more in the next book. Again, it was just noticeable and I just didn't enjoy that at that point. And then at literally the very end, I wish there was a little bit more explanation as to why the character had made the decision that she did, because she was literally given 2 options and she went with one of said options and then the book just ends. And I wanted to understand her just a little bit more because it felt slightly out of character and I wasn't expecting her to go down that path. Like I was expecting, like the ending still ended how I expected it to, but the way we got there, I didn't fully understand the character and it felt like we just completely changed this character as a person. And so I wish we got a little bit more fleshed out and understanding as to why she made that decision. But I think if you like animal bonds, like in Fourth Wing, which I know this book is being marketed as, and I can see why, and something like How to Train Your Dragon, I think you'd like this book because I was a really big fan of that and we got a lot of Azer and Six, her Rafen? Maybe I should check the pronunciation guide. But anyways, we got a lot of their bonding and training together, which I did really like. Also because the way that the author wrote that character dynamic was really fun. Also refreshing within the series or within the book itself. That's my hopefully cohesive review of Ravenminder. I will post my NetGalley review, which is a little bit more thought out rather than me just saying stuff, on Goodreads. So yeah, check out my Goodreads if you want to check that out, and I will see you in the next video.